On January 19, 1996, a sanitation worker made his regular sweep along Huaqiao Road in the Xinjiekou district of Nanjing, China, about 1 kilometer south of Nanjing University. The winter air was cold. The streets were quiet. Inside a black plastic bag, he found what appeared to be meat, clean, evenly sliced, pre-cut into rectangular portions. He believed it was pork. He brought the bag home. That evening, while preparing what he thought was his dinner, he found 3 human fingers. The sanitation worker called the police. Over the next several hours, investigators traced a geography of horror across central Nanjing. More bags. More locations. 8 in total. A construction site on Huaqiao Road, Dajianyan Lane just south of it, Xiaofan Bridge to the southeast, the main gate of Nanjing University, a sports stadium nearby, and later, between January 20th and January 30th, the victim's head and clothing were discovered around Shuizhuogang Road, north of the campus. Every bag contained the same victim. Every location added a new layer to a crime scene that spanned an entire district of one of China's most historic cities. The victim was identified through a mole on her right cheek. Her name was Diao Aiqing. She was 19 years old. Diao was born in March 1976 in Shengao, a town in the Jiangyan district of Taizhou, Jiangsu province. She was the youngest of 2 siblings. Her family was poor. Her older sister, Diao Aiqing, had dropped out of school to find work so that her younger sister could continue studying. Diao did not waste that sacrifice. She performed well academically, passed the Gaokao on her second attempt, and enrolled at Nanjing University, one of the most respected institutions in China. She arrived on campus in October 1995 to attend the university's School of Adult Education, majoring in computer applications at the Department of Information Management. She had been a university student for barely 3 months. Diao was described by those who knew her as introverted and simple. She did not enjoy interacting with people. She kept a small social circle. Her family limited their contact with her deliberately. They did not want to disrupt her studies. They didn't even tell her when her grandfather died or when her sister got married. They believed she needed to focus. And then she vanished. On the evening of January 10, 1996, something happened in Diao's dormitory that set everything in motion. Her roommate had been caught illegally using an electrical appliance, a violation of university rules. The dormitory management imposed a fine. Diao was expected to pay a portion of it, and this led to a conflict. She left the building. She walked out of the Gulo district campus, and she never came back. Diao was last seen alive wearing a red coat with a black lining. She was reported missing, but her family was not notified by the authorities. Not for 9 days. Not until the bags started appearing. That detail, that the family was kept in the dark for over a week while their daughter was missing, would become one of many reasons why, 25 years later, Diao's family filed a lawsuit against Nanjing University for 1.62 million yuan. Her sister said it was not about compensation, it was about seeking justice. But in 1996, justice was nowhere close. When the forensic examination began, the scale of what had been done to Diao Aiqing started to become clear. More than 2,000 pieces of human remains were recovered. Most had been cut into rectangular slices, thin even, methodical. This was not the work of panic. This was not someone in a frenzy trying to dispose of a body. This was deliberate. This was process. Her head and internal organs had been boiled for several days, multiple days of sustained heat, requiring access to a private space where no one would notice or ask questions. Crucial organs, the heart, the liver, the spleen, were never found. They remain missing to this day. The forensics team could not even identify the remains as female through conventional means at first. The precision suggested the perpetrator might have had a medical or butcher's background, someone who knew anatomy, someone who knew exactly how to work, and that led the investigation into the most terrifying direction of all. As the search widened, Nanjing police questioned hundreds of people. They investigated local butchers, hospital staff, university lab assistants. They combed through the records of every person who had entered or left the university in the days surrounding the disappearance. They found nothing. No witnesses, no DNA, no motive that made sense, but they did find something else, a pattern of silence. As the investigation wore on, the fear in Nanjing grew. People stopped walking the streets at night. The university became a place of suspicion, and the person responsible, whoever they were, had simply disappeared into the density of the city. In 2020, Chinese police solved a separate cold case from Nanjing, the 1992 murder of a female medical student. The breakthrough came through DNA testing technology that didn't exist when the crime was committed. A suspect was arrested. The family finally got answers. That gave Diao Aiqing's family hope. The evidence from 1996 is still preserved. The remains, the crime scene samples, the forensic materials, none of it has been destroyed. It's all there, waiting for technology to catch up to the person who did this. But the primary suspect in Diao's case died years ago. The man who was once at the center of the investigation, the person with the most circumstantial connections, took whatever he knew to the grave. If he was responsible, there may never be a courtroom to walk into. There may never be a confession. What's unusual is the volume of forensic material. Most cold cases go unsolved because there's nothing left to test. But in Diao Aiqing's case, investigators collected extensive samples, blood, tissue, trace evidence from multiple disposal sites. The problem in 1996 wasn't a lack of evidence. It was the limits of what DNA testing could do. Today, forensic genetic genealogy, the same technology that identified the Golden State Killer, has never been applied to this case. Chinese law enforcement has been cautious about adopting these methods for older investigations. But the evidence is there. It has always been there. The 9 days between January 10th and January 19th, 1996, between Diao's last sighting and the discovery of her remains, have never been reconstructed with certainty. Who she met, where she went, what was done to her, and why. These questions still do not have confirmed answers. But unlike many cold cases that fade because the evidence deteriorates, this one has the opposite problem. The evidence is intact. The technology exists. What's missing isn't the ability to solve it. What's missing is the decision to try.